Alright guys, get your pitchforks out. If you don't have pitchforks, go get some, because I know that you guys are going to be mad at me. But here's the caveat. My birthday was yesterday, so it's technically my birthday week, so you can't be mad at me in my birthday week. Right?
What's it? Now before you start hating, ask yourself, be honest. Ain't I'm clean, no?
I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, but nobody wants your ugly ass vintage floral looking ass dress just because you added chains and a blazer with patches to it and called it 80s goth fashion. If you like it, I love it, but at the end of the day I still don't want to wear that shit. You know damn well somebody's saying they want to find options for thrifted goth fashion, that's not what the fuck they mean. You can lie to yourself, but you're not gonna lie to me. I have eyes, and I can see that that's not what the fuck I want, and that's not what people mean when they say they can't find goth fashion in your local thrift stores.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Granted, no, you're not gonna find, this perfectly goth curated wardrobe in a thrift store, and you do have to be creative, but I feel like you're intentionally missing the point to try and gaslight people and be snarky and hateful and elitist on purpose, and it's just annoying. And that's why a lot of people don't take y'all seriously. Nobody wants that ugly ass shit.
Oh my god, corny, lame, boo, tomato, I'm throwing tomatoes.
I don't think that is a 100% bad thing to tone down your goth wardrobe to be appropriate for certain occasions. The problem is that a lot of times when people tell you to tone down, what they really mean is to turn off, and they don't want you to exist as an alternative person at all, and they want you to morph into what they perceive as normal, and they want you to look how they want you to look without really taking time to care for what it is that you actually want. Like, you can be goth, or you can be alternative, or you can be emo, but when it comes to certain special occasions, there are certain things that I just don't feel like are appropriate. Like, I fully understand if somebody says that they don't want someone wearing white face paint in their wedding, because they don't want that in their wedding photos. You can still wear goth makeup, you just don't have to look like a clown. So yeah, like if you're going to a funeral, like yeah, you can be emo, but like you don't have to wear patches and chains and ripped jeans and stuff. Like, you can put on a nice black dress, and it can be an alternative looking dress. But like, if it's a formal event, there's ways that you can dress formally and still stick with your aesthetic and not dress so inappropriately, because it comes across as attention seeking behavior, which can kind of read as a bit of narcissism, and all making me agree with the normies that hate us with some of the antics that some of y'all pull on the internet. Because it's like, and I'm gonna lead by example and show examples of things that I've worn to weddings in here. Like, yeah, I'm goth and I'm going to a wedding, but it's like, if I want to wear a choker, I'm not gonna wear a spike choker, I'm gonna wear a lace choker. If I want to wear a dress, then it's gonna be like a nice dress. It's not gonna be a dress with a whole bunch of spikes and like skulls and skeletons and all this other stuff. It's gonna be like a nice black dress. If I want to wear tights, it's not gonna be ripped tights. It's just gonna be like some regular lacy pattern tights. If I want to wear fishnets, I'll wear the ones that have like the really small holes that kind of look more like a mesh than like just really thick fishnets just because a lot of people associate fishnets with the sex industry. And, you know, people could be offended by that and not want that in their wedding. And I totally understand because of the stigma behind it. If I'm going to go babysit, and I used to be a babysitter and a nanny, and I know that I'm going to be with children that are like under the age of 5, especially, I wouldn't wear a lot of accessories. I wouldn't wear any jewelry. I wouldn't wear any lashes. I wouldn't wear any glitter. I wouldn't wear anything on my person that could be a potential choking hazard or something that can fall off and like get in some food or some toys or whatever things that those children interact with. Like, I never want anything on my body to operate as a hazard to someone. If someone specifically tells you, hey, I have arachnophobia, you can wear your goth aesthetic all you want to, but please no spiders, no spider webs that can trigger me. I have a severe phobia. Then guess what? I'm not going to wear that to their house because I'm not trying to trigger them. I appreciate them welcoming me into their home, and I'm not going to try and, stir the pot. If somebody tells me, hey, my 90-year-old grandma has Alzheimer's, dementia, and she's really sensitive, she can't handle too much excitement, otherwise she might have a heart attack and die, then I'm not going to wear something that could upset her and cause her to have a fit, because I don't want to be responsible for anybody having any health issues or anything like that. Like, those specific type of situations make sense. What doesn't make sense is someone telling me, oh, I don't like colorful makeup, I think natural makeup looks better, so you should wear natural makeup instead of colorful makeup. Then I'd be like, no, and I'm actually good on hanging out with you, nice knowing you, bye. Like, you just gotta understand the difference between someone wanting you to dress appropriately for a formal event or for specific situations for specific people versus people trying to turn you into something you're not because they don't accept your goth identity. Stop getting online and creating content while some goth is dead. When you yourself don't even identify as goth, you don't know any goths in real life, you never been to a goth club, and you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You're purely speaking from the perspective of someone on the outside looking in based on shit that you see on the internet that's not rooted in real life. Like, how you gonna hate from outside the club? You can't even get in. Stop complaining about how all the goth and alt girls you follow online are boring and they all look the same. You just follow a lot of boring ass white people, because when you follow people who are African, Indigenous, African American, people who are chronically ill, people who are disabled, people who are fat, trans, bi, gay, lesbian, and all these other marginalized identities, you'll see that everybody has their own personalities, everybody has their own personal spin, everybody has their own interests, everybody has their own things that they like. If some of those things fit into goth, then great. But if they don't, then they don't, and they're perfectly fine with it. Like, are all the goth alternative girls online boring and look the same? Or do you just follow a lot of people who are boring and look the same? Because you're boring and look the same. Stop threatening to call the haram police on Muslim goth people, because you don't like goth people, you don't like Muslims, and you don't like to see the combination of the two. It's racist, it's ignorant, it's xenophobic, And depending on what ethnicity, what nationality that person is that you're threatening, it's literally a death threat. Like, people literally kill people within the Muslim faith, specifically women, who don't show up in the world in the way that other people want them to, depending on where they are in the world. And you're literally calling for the death of people because you don't like how they look. It's not cute, it's not funny, like nothing about it is good. Stop telling people of the global majority that we're trying to be white because we exist and we show up in the world as goth or alternative. We are not trying to be white. The goth culture as you know it today would not exist without the contributions of people of color in music, fashion, activism, art, just overall culture creating. It just would not exist without people of color. The goth subculture would not exist without black people because punk is a derivative of rock and roll, which was invented by black people. Like, all of the umbrella genres that fit under rock and roll would not exist without black people. We are not trying to be white just because we like this music and we like the aesthetic and we like the art and we have different interests that fits into that as well. It's stupid, it's ignorant, it doesn't even make any sense if you know the history. So just stop. Like, stop trying to paint us as if we're these self-hating race traitors because we don't fit into whatever stereotype that you have about our ethnicity, our nationality, or what you perceive to be our culture from the outside in. Stop wearing religious or cultural symbols from other cultures that you haven't even taken time to understand or figure out if it's appropriate to wear in certain ways. Like, a lot of white goths wear like the Norse and like the Greek mythology type stuff and integrate it into their goth aesthetic and goth wardrobe. But if you ask them questions about being Norse, being Greek, being Egyptian, or whatever thing that they're wearing as a part of their aesthetic, they look at you in disgust. Like, ew, I'm not a Viking. Ew. Why do you ask me about ancient Egypt? What does that have to do with me wearing my ankh? Like, they look disgusted that you're asking about the very thing that they're wearing. And it's like, don't wear it if you don't really want to be associated with it. And there's people who have come out and said, hey, if you want to wear this, this is the proper way to go about it. It's not appropriate to wear it like this or wear it like that because of the history, because of the culture, because of the traditions and such that are associated with it. And like, if you're not going to respect the cultures of whatever that thing comes from, then you shouldn't be wearing it. Me wearing colorful braids, colorful twists, colorful locks is not rave hair, festive hair, party hair, or whatever the fuck. You're just used to culturally appropriating our natural protective hairstyles and further stigmatizing it in the workforce. Because our natural hairs that comes out of our own head and our protective styles are already deemed as unprofessional, unclean, unkept because of white supremacy and the history of our hair being policed in this country. And because you guys wear this and you call it rave hair, festive hair, and those areas are stigmatized for their own reasons because they're associated with heavy drinking and heavy drug use and all this other stuff that goes against religion, it just further stigmatizes it. So my hair is not unprofessional, you're just racist. Stop being the makeup police. Stop telling goths don't wear blush, goths don't wear highlighter, goths don't wear glitter, goths don't wear creases, goths don't wear this or that or whatever the fuck. Like, goth people are allowed to be multidimensional, and the subculture was created as a space where multiple people from multiple walks of life can come and feel comfortable in their own skin without being told, go home freak, it's not Halloween, ha ha ha, or like other little dumb shit like that. And we can all just come together and enjoy the music, enjoy the culture, and we can share our love of different things and just be happy, be merry, be free together. It's not about whether or not someone's wearing blush, whether or not somebody's wearing colorful makeup, whether or not somebody's wearing highlighter, and whether or not that is goth or not. Like, racists, Yahtzees, and, people like that who actually hate us. We don't gatekeep goth people from enjoying things that are quote unquote not goth. And we don't try to limit people's self-expression. We expand the self-expression. We encourage more creativity. We encourage more self-expression. And this is supposed to be a space where creative people can come together and be celebrated for our creativity instead of be punished for it. Where we can be embraced, where we can expand on our creativity instead of constantly having to shrink ourselves down to fit into society. Like, what is the purpose of telling a goth girl that she's doing goth wrong because she's wearing blush? What is the purpose of telling someone, oh, your goth makeup isn't really goth because because you have on highlighter and highlighter isn't goth? Like, what is the purpose of that? Like, what do you gain from doing that? Absolutely nothing. It's just mean, girl. And like, usually these attitudes come from people who aren't even goth because you don't look like their favorite porn star, because you don't look like the stereotypes they have about goth, because they only know about goths from the internet and they never been to a club. They don't know goth people in real life or anything. So they're trying to gatekeep a subculture that they're not even really fully a part of. If a goth woman, goth girl, goth femme presenting person says, I don't date goth boys, I don't date goth guys, I don't date goth men, I think valid, completely understandable. But if a goth male presenting person says, I don't date goth girls, immediate red flags. Immediate red flags. Because in my personal experience, whenever a goth girl says, I don't date goth guys, it's because most of the goth guys that they've encountered have weirdo behavior towards them for whatever reason. And I understand why they say, you know what, I don't want to date other goth guys, I want to date the nerds. I get along better with them. I understand, I get it, it makes sense. But whenever a goth guy is like, ew, I don't want to date a goth girl, yuck. This gives that he's a weirdo and he doesn't like how the community calls out weirdos. And he knows he can't hide within the scene, and you can't get away with whatever nonsense that he's a part of. Like, it's immediate red flags. Like, no, what's wrong with you? It's not that you don't like them, it's that they don't like you. You can't get them, you can't pull them. That's what you're saying. I do not feel bad for black men who are nerds, who are goth, who are alternative, who are like in their 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, and they're like, I can't date, or like, I can't date or find black goth nerdy women who like me because, you know, when I was younger, all the girls thought I was weird and they called me ugly, and, you know, they didn't want me, so it's hard for me to find a girl. Like, I don't feel bad for them. It's just giving incel. It's giving entitled. It's giving you were the weird kid in middle school and nobody liked you because you were Naruto running down the hallways at 8 a.m. and like doing some other weirdo shit, and you're holding on to that trauma and projecting it out to grown-ass women. Like, it's just giving ashy, dusty, crusty, and gross. I don't trust them if they're like, well, see, that's why I prefer white women. And that's why I prefer Latinos and Asians and literally anything but a black woman. Because you ask them, like, oh, what makes you interested in interracial dating? Well, you know, black women. No, what makes you interested in interracial dating? Well, you know, black women. Well, no. Well, why do you like your partner? Well, I like my partner because, you know, black women. Like, no, stop including us in this self-hate thing you have going on. Why do you like the people that you're actively engaging in relationships with? Them specifically in their person. Not about what you don't like about black women. Not about how black women made fun of you and told you you were ugly in middle school. Told you were weird and gross and whatever the hell. Why do you specifically want the person that you're with? Don't put us in it. So I don't feel bad for you guys. I'm sorry. I don't. You do not have to be a copy and paste goth, copy and paste alternative person based on the images that you see online in order to be valid in your identity. You're allowed to creatively self-express yourself in whatever way that you want. And that fits into the guidelines of what is and what isn't goth, and great. But if it doesn't, don't be afraid to wear it or participate in the activity. Don't try and limit yourself to what is and what isn't goth to try and fit into the lines of that. And don't treat being goth like it's a uniform, that like it's required, or like it's a costume or a performance art or whatever. Like, allow yourself the freedom to creatively express yourself and be a multidimensional person. I promise it makes you happier, it makes you healthier, it makes you more fun and more interesting to be around. You do not have to accept anything that anybody wants to give you just because they gave it to you for fear of being perceived as ungrateful. If you feel like somebody gave you something out of ill will to try and manipulate you, to try and change you in any way, shape, or form, then most times, like 9 times out of 10, you're 100% right. You're 100% valid. Those people know damn well that you didn't want to wear that ugly ass bullshit they got you when they got it for you. But they're hoping that your people-pleasing tendencies will kick in and override your common sense and your feelings about something. If you say, I only wear silver, and somebody gets you something that's gold and you're like, I don't want to wear this because I only wear silver, you're 100% right in feeling like that person is trying to lower your guard and give you something that you absolutely do not fucking want. and you don't have to accept it. You're allowed to say no thank you. Like, you don't have to be rude, you don't have to be mean, but you're allowed to say no thank you. And you don't have to accept anything that anybody wants to give you just because they want to give you that, especially if you sense that they gave it to you under the pretense of hoping to change something about you. Like let's say you're like a tomboy, a stud, a butch, a masculine woman, and you only wear men's clothing. But somebody gets you a pink, fluffy, frilly dress with sequin on it. That's 2 sizes too small, without a gift receipt to return it. And they're like, oh, how come you're not wearing the dress I bought you? How come you're not wearing it? Oh, I really went out of my way. I thought you would look super cute in that. Why aren't you wearing that? It's clear that they're trying to manipulate you to show up in the way that they want you to show up instead of accepting you for who you are. You don't have to do that just to try and be a people pleaser, essentially. Like, you don't have to let people groom you into being a people pleaser. And you're 100% right and valid in feeling like they're trying to give you something to manipulate you, not because it's something they genuinely think that you would like and appreciate. Make cartoons goth again, and this time add some melanin to them. Whatever happened to making all the cartoons goth? Invader Sim. I can't think of it, but I definitely remember watching it on Nickelodeon. Go back to making cartoons goth again and add some melanin to them. I do not call people basic because they are not alternative or because they aren't goth. Basic is a behavior. Basic is a mindset. If I call somebody basic, it's because they're jealous. It's because they're miserable. It's because they're trying to project some type of image onto me that they want me to have based on their limited view and limited reality that they want me to accept. If I call somebody basic, it's never because they're not wearing black lipstick, eyeliner, and dressing all black. It's never because they don't have tattoos, they don't have piercings, they don't have colorful hair or anything. If I call somebody basic, it's because their behavior, their attitude, their energy is basic.
It's the way you act.
Because I can call somebody who's goth basic. I can call somebody who's alternative basic. And I don't believe in trying to shame people for not being alternative. Like, it's one thing to call out toxic behavior towards alternative people, but if somebody isn't doing anything to be insulting towards you or anyone or anything, there's no need to completely unprovoked go out of your way and call them basic because they don't look like an alt baddie from the internet. You don't have to force yourself to try and be friends with someone or date someone who's different from you just to prove that you could. If you genuinely feel like it's just not gonna work because there's too many differences between you. It's one thing to be open-minded and wanting to expand your horizons and surround yourself with people who are different from you and learn something and just become a more interesting, more dynamic individual. But if those people are different in a way that is harmful to you or other people, like if you're a marginalized person and that person is a bigot of some sort, you don't have to try and be friends with them to try and prove how open-minded you are. Like, you don't have to be friends with your oppressor. You don't have to be friends with people who hate your friends and family and want terrible things to happen to them because of it, just to prove that you're an open-minded person who can be friends with anyone. Like, you don't have to do that. And if you are dating somebody or somebody asks you out and you're not interested in dating them for whatever reason, and it doesn't even need to be one, other than you just don't want to do it. You don't have to try and force yourself to date them just to prove that, oh, I'm capable of dating this type of person. I'm not like such and such. I'm not like this. I'm not like that. Like, go date who you want to date. Go be friends with who you want to be friends with. And don't try and force yourself to limit yourself to whatever the hell else other people have going on. Alright, so those are some of my hot takes, some of my most unpopular opinions about goth culture, about being goth, about being alternative, or whatever. Those are my unpopular opinions. Feel free to argue in the comments, or if you agree with some of these, let me know which ones you agree with, and keep the conversation going. If you feel like this video will be valuable to other people, then please share. We are on our monetization journey. I'm currently at 540 hours watch time, and I'm trying to get to 4,000 by the end of the year. So like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys later.